Hey guys, welcome back. So I've been called to pull a reading. This actually feels very ancestral. So if you feel as though your ancestors have been trying to get a hold of you, or if you've been identifying as somebody who's been trying to clear out intergenerational karma, or maybe even having some pretty vivid dreams, I really feel like this message is going to be for you. Relief, lucky. There is something coming on the horizon. You're going to start feeling a lot better about your journey. I'm hearing feeling a lot better about being yourself, especially if you feel as though you've been living in fear and worried about, it's sort of like you've been worried about releasing something. We got fire, friendship. Oh, this feels good. I feel like a blockage has recently been released where people might have misunderstood you. They kind of took you the wrong way. So, what kind of cards do we have at the top here? Oh, there we go. Spiritual cleansing, divinity. Oh, suddenly getting a little bit sniffly and weepy. Protection, transmute. Okay. Whoa. Like, I love that these two cards are right here, guys. There's a passionate friendship incoming. This may have a little bit to do with the soulmate that we've been tracking, but whatever it is that your ancestors want to talk to you about, it sounds as though there's been something impairing your ability to connect with your divine self, latent guilt, something that you could have picked up from your parents, your grandparents. But what's kind of lovely is that there's a blank slate happening. You may have carried on karma throughout the generations, and in some cases, carrying karma from your own past lives, but that's being changed. It's sort of like you can't change history, but your frequency is going to shift that nobody's going to have the power to use any of these wounds against you. So if this sounds like your message, you're more than welcome to stick around. If we haven't met yet, my name is High Priestess Berries, psychic medium and divine channeler, hoping to bring you a message. Now, always remember my messages are candid, unscripted, but they're also timeless. So please tap into your instincts, listen to your intuition. If there's anything that I talk about that doesn't make any sense, totally fine. Do not worry about it. This message may not be for you, but if it does resonate, let me know. Share your experiences in the comments below. So I'm just going to go ahead and start pulling some cards. Got a Five of Wands, a Seven of Cups, Six of Cups, Nine of Cups, along with the Hierophant. Like, whatever it is that you are exiting out of, I'm hearing that this is just coming to an end. Like, done. In some ways, this is going to feel very, very sudden. I was talking a little bit about your dream space, and I feel as though, especially for those of you who are prone to being lucid dreamers, I recently just released on my Reiki YouTube a lucid dreaming, deep healing, silent meditation. And that particular healing video is designed to give you some space to just be yourself without all the clutter. And all of a sudden, my solar star chakra is feeling incredibly itchy. Like, I think some of you are worried about remanifesting the same bullshit all over again, but I really get the sense that this is sort of an old karma where people just wouldn't listen to you. Like, you might have been actually a very sincere person, but people had been mocking you, making fun of you, demeaning you, and it always put you into this headspace where you felt like you had to keep trying again. The blind leading the blind, making it up as you go. There's something interesting about this Six of Cups. Something that this is like what you've been overcoming based on past circumstances. Because if you haven't felt as though you've been heard, it's as though you might have felt like you were crazy. I think some of you probably have been questioning your sanity, your mental health, and it hasn't helped because on the negative aspect, the fire and the friendship, this could be a blame shifter, a gaslighting energy, witch burning, if you will. She's a witch, I say. We got the Hermit, Queen of Wands. Yeah, this is like you've had to self contain your divinity. You've got a lot going on the inside. If you do identify as being divine feminine, most of your chaotic reality happens inwardly, and people outside of you, especially the unawakened, they have no earthly clue all of the bullshit you are constantly trying to transmute, that you are constantly trying to work through. You may have felt blind trying to make this up as you go, but it's because you've been around energies that just don't see your reality from your perspective because they're so entrenched in the 3D. Like you've been around a lot of masculine energy, and the masculine is more about what they see in front of them is gospel. But when you're in the more feminine polarity, what you feel and what you perceive, that's gospel. What do we have right? Two of Cups. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, one more here. The Fool. This feels more foolish and naive. There's something about a cycle about the types of people that you associate with is shifting because you've been subconsciously getting into relationships to heal other people. And whether if that is having a child, or having a pet that suddenly has like all these weird emotional issues, maybe getting involved in romantic relationships where yeah, you've definitely had your bullshit, you've definitely had your pain, but you're more trauma bonded to these people and you kind of liked a little bit of their goofy nature. There was something about these people that you used to associate with that you did find healing, but it was upsetting because you would heal, but the other person would not. And it would feel like an abandonment. It would feel almost like a betrayal to some degree because you were doing the healing work. You went into these karmic relationships with the intention of self healing. But I think you might have made the mistake assuming that this other person wanted to heal with you. But what do we have with the Nine of Cups? Because this is sort of where you're at. There's some satisfaction. I feel like you might be sort of faking it till you make it, but a little bit of masking. I really feel like you are still hiding a lot of the aspects of who you are. And that's not a criticism. I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. But now that your discernment is going way up, I feel as though your intuition is healing and you're developing a better relationship to your intuition that you kind of realize it's okay to put on a face that everything is fine if you're around people who can't handle what it is that you're going through. It's kind of learning how to play the game without being a player. You're just doing it to go along to get along. Well, these people they play around in order to manipulate people, in order to trick people, to in some ways, think of it this way. People don't want to know, people don't want to admit they're hurt, or they don't want to admit that they are broken. They don't want to admit that they don't have their shit together. So they put on a fake form of confidence. But you're different and you're being asked to look at things differently. The star, that's what showed up in the overall energy of this reading when I went to throw the cards down. Like, just because the outside world can't see what's going on inside of your mind, that's probably a good thing. Only you should have access to that. And if anybody wants access to it, well, they have to do an energy exchange. They have to pay for it. They have to compensate you for this knowledge. Like, you're way more valuable than I think you've been giving yourself credit for. Queen of Swords. Ooh, this is some of your gifts coming up. Knight of Wands. The Lovers, masculine and masculine. This is a bit of a shift because as you healed and you started noticing that your past soulmates were not healing with you, you kind of went into mother mode. Even if you self identify as a guy, you can still go into mother mode and be like, hey, look, we talked about this before. And you start critiquing and, giving an honest, constructive conversation, which That's perfectly fine. However, this person, they're not really taking what it is that you say from a heart space. They just think you're being mean and critical, probably because they had a mean and critical mother, for all we know, right? There's something about the way that you've been impulsively mm, getting over impulsively telling people off, getting over impulsively trying to convince people that you do have a correct perspective. There's a shift that's happening. And I really feel like, because I'm using the ancestral tarot, the types of people that you are going to be interacting with, they have to change. Because I really get the sense you want to be around people who are accountable. Given that your future influence right here is the Hierophant, the Hierophant is about stability. And in some ways, in this particular context, integrity, because I really feel like you placed way too much value on these people from the past. Maybe they had official certifications. Maybe they had the education. Maybe they had some kind of societal clout that gave them authority to think, believe, and speak about certain topics. But as you got to know them better, you question them. Like there is some semblance of curiosity, although while the knight is not always curious, he the night is more about action. Like you would hear this person, you'd be inspired and you'd move forward in creativity. You'd get cool ideas, but then when you go bring it back to this person, they just smack it down. It's nothing's ever good enough for this energy. Like I think that's the best way of summing it up. Tell me a little bit more about this Hierophant. Because while this isn't necessarily an emperor, I really feel like you are getting established in what it is that you need to talk about. There's something that other people are blind to that they just can't see. And you've been sort of in this protective cocoon. You've needed to heal because it's sort of along the lines of you shouldn't talk about mental health issues unless you have a degree in psychology or are a certified therapist. There is some truth to it, but there's something about you need to know your lane. No, it's inappropriate for you to go diagnosing people. So how can you change up your languaging so you can talk about mental health issues from your own personal perspective, your own personal experience, not speaking from trauma, but speaking from your informed personal sense of education. These people that you've associated with in the past, they know the theory of mental health, but they don't understand the spirit of mental health. And I'm using it as an example. It doesn't have to be about mental health or mental well-being, but spirituality and our mental space, they are tied together. This person, they probably could have mental health problems, but they went into a field of healthcare without really understanding their own problems. But you wanted to take the time to understand your own problems so that you can understand how to take care of yourself. Does that make sense? So it's like learning from the inside out versus learning from the outside in. Then we got 10 of Wands, Temperance, balancing your pain. You're going to be given an opportunity to start speaking up and speaking out. What is it that you have learned? What do you have some authority within your life? Is it learning how to love yourself again? Is it the ability to access your psychic and spiritual gifts? Is it your understanding how to overcome interracial? Interesting. Interracial and intergenerational karma? What is it that you have gone through? The thing that has burdened you, but you've found some semblance of balance despite going through it. You've been around some victim blamers, victims and blame shifters, victimization, where they're more interested in the attention than they are in the healing, but you're interested in healing rather than trying to get the attention. Oh, this is lovely. 10 of Cups, 4 of Cups, 7 of Wands. Oh, I love this. Whatever it is that you're entering into, as you feel more confident to release the old and feel more confident about speaking about what you've gone through. Like, it is important to stay in your lane and to be extremely aware of what it is that you were talking about. Some people do step over the boundary of what is safe and thoughtful to talk about from a 3D perspective, but there's something that you've learned, especially if you've gone through conspiracy theories or if you've been in abusive dynamics or you've been caught up in abusive narcissistic dynamics that have just constantly gone back and forth like a little echo chamber. It's whatever you have gone through. It's whatever you healed from. You are a healer. Ow. All of a sudden I felt like something was stabbing me in my arm on my left hand side. And it's as simple as this. It's okay to pursue your happiness and your long-term happiness. And if something comes in that makes you feel uneasy, overwhelmed, or overburdened, you can push it away. This could be a thought from the astral realm because you're opening yourself up to divine channeling, and learning how to have energetic boundaries will be extremely important. I do have some Reiki healing meditations if you would like to join me on Patreon that will help you create a better shield around yourself so that you can be aware of what belongs to you, what belongs to the collective, and what belongs to your guides. You're being encouraged right now. Start sorting out your thoughts, your feelings. Make sure that you are journaling or having some semblance of documentation in a way that makes sense for your personality. Because I really feel like you're going to start coming out of the woodwork because you've been healed, you've transmuted it, you are going to be way more divinely protected so that you can start healing other people. Like, we're getting out of this societal idea that we have to have education in order to thrive. Education is important, and there are certain 3D there's certain 3D considerations where, it's good to have an education to make sure things are done properly. But whatever it is that you are going into, whatever it is that you're speaking about, you've been through it, you have the divine authority. Don't worry about the blame shifters because they're leaving your life. The gaslighters are leaving your life. And even if they're still technically around, you won't be bothered by them. So what's the final message that the universe would like you to know at this time? King of Cups, Death, King of Pentacles, Two of Swords. There's no going back. The transformation has already occurred. On the fifth dimension, you've already made this intention. It's just allowing things to work their way out so that it starts showing up in the 3D. The 3D is extraordinarily sensitive to your energy at this time. Again, pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to sudden shifts within your aura that make you go, hey, is this mine? Does this belong to me? And feeling way more confident about dismissing it. You have emotionally grown up. You're just being encouraged to really think about the things that make you happy are the things that will bring you wealth. The things that connect you to your emotions, connect you to your ancestors. Your ancestors have been dealing with intergenerational poverty, and they're helping you overcome a lack mindset so that you can feel confident no matter what it is you're trying to do within your reality. If you have invested into your emotional well-being and your spiritual wellness, you will be able to find safety, comfort, and security within your environment. Don't question it. I'm just saying. Wow. Well, whoever it is that you guys are, damn, I sincerely hope that this helped. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you need some additional support on this, make sure to like and subscribe so that you can get notifications about these messages. You're also welcome to join us on Patreon as well. Otherwise, when I see you guys at the next one, I'm wishing you peace, love, and all the berries.